I don't know why that joint make me feel super exclusive when I do
You
that
be like,
joint.
we about to hit that
Yeah,
countdown.
they step yo, StreamYard is really stepping it up, bro, with their stuff, man. So I love it. I love it. But what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Nate. I got my brother on here, Ty, one of the major contributors to this new project. I love you, love letters from black men to black boys. This is my brother right here. He does amazing things, an artist in every sense of the word. And he agreed to jump on here with me this evening briefly to just discuss black men and therapy. As you know, I'm a big mental health advocate. Ty is as well, and I think it's really important that we have these transparent conversations, share this insight, and really start to normalize our mental health, start to normalize therapy, start to normalize these things that will help us heal and grow. Before we jump into that, though, what's going on, bro? How you feeling? What's going on in your life? Let's talk about it.
Um, I'm feeling really good now, man. You know, engaged, you know what I mean? The excitement with that, you know, with how that
Hey.
is, you know what I mean? So the excitement with all of that, talking to my fiance, planning our future, all that good stuff. So it's a lot to be excited about amongst all of the extra of 2020 right now.
Yeah,
Thriving, you know what I mean? Every day, just trying, more determined to in my artistic endeavors, you know what I mean? In my community endeavors with the Covenant House and things like that. Just in a good space, mental space. I took some time away from social media and things like that, and got my mind together and everything. Just got away from all the negativity of politics and things like that. So right now, I'm in a good mental space. That's what I can say for sure. How about you, bro?
that's what's I'm in a really good mental space. This is man, this whole COVID thing, man, has been, I'll say, mentally draining. And this is the second time I've had to essentially be home for an extended
Yeah.
period of time. I don't have the virus, thank God, but just the precautions are, it's a lot, man. It's a whole lot.
Mm,
Like I've had to be home just so I can take a test for a few days. You know what I'm saying? It's like you had to prep and
right.
wait. And I'll be honest, I'm an introverted person, but I still
Mhm.
love like being around people. Like I still love being
Right.
around my fiance. And then the fact that, we were in the same house, like kind of quarantining from each other. I'm like, this is terrible. This is
Right.
like I was stressed out. I couldn't even sleep the first night. I'm like, this is crazy. And it's one of
Right.
those things where it's like, man, I had to really put things into perspective and be like, okay, it's not that bad. You know what I'm saying? To be honest,
Right.
people are going through much more difficult situations. I
Yeah.
had an individual reach out to me whose father has COVID and has some type of other illnesses in the hospital. This
Right.
individual and her son both got COVID. Lost her, I think her sense of smell, sense of taste,
Yeah.
and then had some issues with his son who was battling, mental health issues, and he tried to commit suicide. Like, so I'm like, yo, Nate, you
Mhm.
you tripping? Like, you got a
Right.
roof over your head. You know what I'm saying? Stuff is straight at the house. You get to chill and watch TV if you want to. You get to work from home, whatever that is. You should be. What are you complaining about? So I really put things in perspective after that first night. That first night, I was kind of like almost being a brat about it. I'm just like stressed, like why? Like, all right, relax. First of all, it's not that
Right.
deep. You know what I'm saying? And I had to
Absolutely.
really put things into perspective. But yeah, mentally, I've been doing a lot better, man. Ever since I really got a grip on things and started to be more productive with my time.
Right.
And just, stop sitting around just kind of like moping and wondering like why me? Or kind of wondering,
Right.
like, man, when is this pandemic gonna be over? Like I can't take it no more. Like it's not for me, I had to really shift my mindset to like what can I do within this time that adds value to people.
Right.
And among that was obviously the book releasing and just getting the buzz out about that. Did a few interviews. I have another one next week, which is pretty
Mhm.
cool. They're doing like this interview with this
Yeah.
platform called The Conversationalist out in New York, and they're doing like a Q&A with me, where they're going to have their members kind of do a private VIP Q&A. So it's really cool, man. I'm excited to
Yeah.
spread this message. So since I started focusing on adding value back to people and focusing on how can I be a better service, that anxiety and stuff kind of just wore down. But that's how I'm
Right.
feeling now, man. I'm definitely uh need to schedule my next therapy session. I will say that. I'm definitely I'm trying to figure out my calendar right now with work and everything. Like, all right, when can I come in and sit down with you? Because I need to, share some things. And
Mhm.
that's kind of where I want tonight's conversation to kind of land at. And I want to talk a little bit more about Black men and therapy, because me and you both talked about this on a personal level,
Mhm.
that we both, go to therapy. And
Absolutely.
I remember being like so afraid to go to therapy because it wasn't even afraid, like I was afraid of what was going to happen or what was going to be
Mhm.
revealed, but it was more so like I was afraid of being judged if someone found out that I was going to therapy. I was literally afraid of being judged by like another Black man, like, yo, what are you doing, bro? Like, you tripping.
Mhm.
Or like a family member or something. And it got to a breaking point where I was like, bro, I need to go. I need to go have these conversations. I need to go get this professional help. I can no longer talk to my friends who are not professionals about these things that are going on. I can only pray but so much, because prayer is great. And I love Dr. Anita Phillips. She always says, prayer is a weapon and therapy is a strategy. And for me,
Wow.
it's like, all right, I got the weapon. I need the strategy now. You know what I'm saying?
Wow. We can't speed past that. Say that one more time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Prayer is a weapon. Therapy is a strategy, right?
Hey, yo,
Um, it's
that's
huge, man. Because
impressive.
I'm big on prayer, and people ask me to pray for them all the time. I got my little prayer
Mhm.
wall right here with my stickies. I'm really big on that, but it got to a point where I needed a little bit more. I needed some type of strategy to put into place every day. And what I realized too, as a believer, right, as a Christian, is that doesn't
Mhm.
take away from anything else with my Christian walk. It just adds to it. Because for
Right,
so
right.
long, I'm like, man, if I don't depend on prayer, my faith is kind of shaky right now. If I got to go to a therapist and things like that, and
Mhm.
that's not true. It's
No,
not true at
no,
all.
not at all. I think for me, just going back a little bit, with me with therapy, what I was more afraid of, because I entertained the idea of therapy at an older age, in my adulthood. So I was more afraid of the reality that I had not grown as much as I prided myself on that I had. Like, I had not arrived at these understandings of life and who I was, and and to have someone else tell me, no, that's still you still need to work on that area, or no, you're not where you think you're at, or no, you still have that anger in you, you still haven't dealt with that issue that issue or whatever. That was what I was more afraid of, to realize that I had so much more work to do. That was one thing. And then also, um, I think that was an area for me too. We're both men of faith and Christians, and so the church relies so much on the pray, dance it out, shout it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um,
man.
that one, lay your hands on and you are healed, you're or delivered, and God can do that. I totally believe God can do it in a moment, right? But
Yeah,
sometimes it takes longer than a moment to get over years or generations of curses and different things that's on you and traumas in one moment. So you need, what you say, the strategy of therapy to help you work those things out. So once started going to therapy myself, it was like, okay, it wasn't I wasn't afraid. It wasn't as bad when I had the first session. And it's also important that you find a therapist that works for you. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah. That's huge.
Everybody's different. I knew what I wanted. I knew I wanted somebody that was a Christian, but not churchy. I needed somebody who was realistic and practical, and had the foundation, obviously, of a Christian, but was not didn't think higher than they ought, about themselves or about the Christian walk, and made it practical for myself, and I could speak to them on a relative level. So for me, those were the main factors that I knew going into that I was looking for. And once I found out on the therapist, it made me come into these realities of where I haven't grown to yet, or feeling like my faith wasn't what it needs to be, because if the church knew that I was in therapy or whatever the case, you build these things in your mind. You think that you're not the strongest Christian, or your faith isn't as strong as it should be, or whatever the case may be. It was an asset, and going to therapy does not undermine your Christian walk. It does not undermine your faith. You know what I
That's
mean?
good.
All of that is it
That's good.
promotes your faith, promotes your faith, really. You know what I mean? Going to therapy, it only confirms what God is telling you. Sometimes God, a lot of times God is already the therapist. We're just not listening to him. He's already telling us,
Mm,
right. He's already telling us that we need to work on A, B, and C. He's already telling
mm.
us that, come to me, seek me. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I think that we just choose to ignore God's voice. And so it's easier when we have somebody in front of us and it's tangible, and someone who can just say those same exact things that God has already been telling us. He or she is just confirming what we already know.
Yeah, yeah. Man,
Mm.
you said a mouthful there, but that's so true, bro. That's so true. And like I said, for so long it was like one or the other. And it's like, why can't it be both? Well, it
Right.
should be both. It's like it's
Right.
not one or the other. It's like God may be leading you to this individual who can actually help you out and get these
Yeah.
practical things and these practical steps in place to really help you with your healing. And
Mm.
I did the same thing. For me, it was trying to find the right person for me. So I went through a list of candidates.
Yeah.
I definitely was looking for someone who was obviously that looked like me,
Right.
for various reasons, a believer. And I happened to find someone who was great, actually, who's incredible. And I remember my first session kind of like being nervous. I was like,
Mhm.
I remember sitting there on that, and she had this, like this. I don't know about your therapist, but she got like this leather couch, and I was like,
Yeah.
sat on that joint, kind of stuck to it a little bit. It's summertime, I'm like, man. But
Yeah.
I remember at the end of that session just feeling like, man, I got so much off of me. And it wasn't
Yeah.
like she was just sitting there just like trying to drop science on me or whatever. It was like she really just listened the whole
Right.
time. And I didn't feel as though I was being judged not once.
Right.
It was like,
That's
man, I never experienced that.
right. That's the important thing, is going in the session and not feeling judged. My first session, I was, because I was ready for therapy at that point. Like I knew I needed it. I was ready to go. So I sat down on that couch and I was just like, just fell out of my mouth. All the issues of my heart, everything was just coming out one after another, whatever. She couldn't even catch it. She's like, oh, 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 oh. You know what I mean? But having someone to discuss the various factors of your life and issues of your life, and be unbiased about it, and someone who is just simply listening and want to give you tools, to help you with your work, is
Mhm.
is very, very, very valuable. And I know it was a main factor in my healing and my peace, because it wasn't until, I don't know, maybe a year or so ago, when I said, okay, I just have to start acknowledging some of the mental health issues that I am dealing with, as far as depression or anxiety, whatever the case may be. Because sometimes we think our our survival mentality that has caused us to stress our entire life, or our struggle,
Yeah.
it's ours to have, and that's our story. When really we've just been deceived to think that. God did
Yeah.
not call us to live in confusion. He did not call us to live in deception, or to have an impoverished mentality for the rest of our lives. Somewhere along the way, someone told us, or life told us, or experiences taught us, that we are to stay in darkness in our mind, and we're to stay in that because that's what your story is. And that's just a lie. So therapy helps to unravel those lies and gives you a new way of thinking, as your
Mm,
faith helps to renew your mind. Therapy helps to sustain your mind.
that's good. That's
Mhm.
really good. It's for me, I utilize it now, and it's like when I first went there, it was almost it was more so like almost emergency, like an emergency situation where it's like I gotta get this off of me. I need this help now. Now I utilize it as like maintenance. So for me, it's like
Right.
a car. It's like getting your oil changed. So it's like I'm
Right.
not going every time all stressed out and falling all over her couch and it's like nah. I just this is maintenance for me because I know. All right, it's about that time I done hit 3,000 miles. You know what? Let me go see you again. I don't want this to get
Right.
too far. All right, hit my mileage. Let me come back and get that checkup again, so I don't have those breakdowns. And for
Right.
me, it's just when I think of self care, that's probably one of the most important things for me in self care. Because usually when you see self care as people, pictures on the beach or they got they sip
Mhm.
and whatever it is, they had the
Right.
massage parlor, all these things. But for me,
Yeah.
the real self care was making that investment,
Mhm.
paying that money or utilizing the insurance, whatever it was, like really making that investment in myself to really gain that mental clarity and release that anxiety and that depression and get the tools that I needed, which I believe that black men we desperately need. I remember I was watching an interview on YouTube with Taraji P. Henson, her partner in the nonprofit Tracy Jade, and there was this guy on there. I cannot remember his name, but he was talking about he tried to commit suicide twice, failed attempts.
Mhm.
Long story short, he's like a therapist now. Something crazy.
Yeah.
Turned his whole life around. But he was saying that when people are trying to commit suicide or they're committing suicide, it's not that they're trying to kill themselves, they're just trying to kill the pain.
Mhm.
And I was like, man, that's heavy. That's heavy. You're
Yeah.
trying to kill the pain, with this drastic feat, right? Instead of
Yeah.
addressing the actual issues, man. And I remember, like I said, I was on campus at school and kids were committing suicide left and right. I'm talking like almost double digits in a semester. And
Yeah.
it was like this thing is so real. It's so real. And it's one of those
Mhm.
things where because it's stigmatized, men and black men, especially in these urban communities that we live in, man, and they're going through all types of mental health traumas on a regular basis. And that's why you see
Mhm.
people running up shooting people, you know, uh, uh maybe robbing stores, whatever it is. A lot of it traces back to some type of issue, some type of trauma. Even in the work that I'm doing now, being blessed to
Mhm.
work with teenagers, you get to talking with them, man. There's some stuff going on that's starting to fester and nobody's addressing those issues. But then they go from teenagers to adults, God willing, you know what I'm saying? They're blessed if they're blessed to do so. And now they have full blown, mental health issues and anxieties and stressors and all these different things. And it's like, man, how do we normalize this thing almost in a sense of making it cool to take care of your
Mhm.
mental health? How do we
Mhm.
make it that way? Like where it's something like, yeah, man, I'm going to my therapist this week. And it's a
Yeah.
it's a thing, like going to the gym almost. Like I'm going get my mental strength together. I ain't
Yeah.
trying to be going through all of that. It's like, how do we get to that point where we make this thing cool? And I think we're on a path to doing so, by being
Absolutely.
more public about it and sharing our experiences and being transparent. And obviously the book, doing this as well. I think we're well on our way. But I'm just trying to think of other methods and things like that. Because I remember hearing a quote when I was at the mental health conference last year, and it said therapy is generational wealth.
Yeah.
And I started to think about my family and the possibilities, what I'm saying, that could have came out of us really addressing those mental health issues early within our family, or going to
Mhm.
therapy early. You know what I'm saying? Really getting these things together. And I can't harp on the past, but sometimes I reflect like, man, I wonder what life would have looked like. But
Yeah.
now I'm in a position, and God has allowed me to withstand those storms to be able to share and teach and inspire that next generation. But man, I really think about that, man. That healing is powerful because when you're healed, man, you see life differently. You experience
Absolutely.
life differently. You hear differently. You know what I'm saying? You treat people differently when you're healed. But when you're broken, when things are difficult for you, when you're going through mental trauma, you see the world. You almost feel like a victim all the time, literally
Right.
all the time.
For me, I know I see a lot in my work at the Covenant House. It's just like and in my own experiences, a lot of the young people's um, issues stem from an identity crisis,
Mm.
not who they are.
Yeah.
Um, because they haven't seen, maybe they don't have the parental relationship, you know what I mean, aspect of their life. They don't, either their mother wasn't a part of their life or their father wasn't part of their life. So there's an aspect of themselves that they don't understand and they don't know. And so they're battling with who they've come to know and
Mm.
who they have yet learned. And some of them don't want to, you don't want to deal, you know what I mean, for whatever reason. For instance, say if you have an issue with your father who was never in your life, you know what I mean, you could be subconsciously fighting those factors and those attributes that you got from him within yourself and don't even know it, because you
Wow.
don't know that identity. You don't
Wow.
know who he is. So therefore you don't know yourself. But there's something in you that you just don't understand because you never had anyone validate that part of you, um, affirm that part of you. So that's where the break comes in identity. And so you're constantly searching for that void to be filled. And if it can't be filled any other way but through sitting down sometime and talking to someone about those pains and acknowledging those voids for what they are, or as I've come to know, through deliverance and accepting the identity of Christ. You know what I mean? Because if I'm made in His image, then I know there's a price on my life. I know I'm valuable. I know who I am. I know who He says I am. So therefore, no matter what the world I've come to says I am through the vessels of my parents, I know who I am in Christ, and that's my identity first. So that helped me to understand, okay, so if I never knew whoever, I know who I am. So that gives me a foundation of value. And I think that's the one, as on a ministry standpoint, that's one way we can normalize this idea, is by showing young men, who their identity is in.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then another aspect, because I wrote it down as you was talking, because you gave some good nuggets there. Just to be consistent with teaching young boys that they are loved. If we're like yourself and myself and the other amazing men who are a part of this project are constantly telling these young men that they are loved, you know what I mean? They will understand that even if I don't see it in myself, someone's holding me up to this standard that they believe and know for well that I can reach. So they have to see something in me that I don't see in myself. And every day, if they can't find it within themselves to get up and to achieve, and they have these other black men who are calling them higher. And if the every day short term goals, right? If every day they get up and they stand up to jump up to that bar that's been there or whatever, then that gives them the determination, that builds that muscle of I've achieved something for the day. I've reached that bar. I maintained who they thought I was, until one day who we think they are, they believe for
Mm.
themselves. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
now they know they were loved. Now they love themselves, and therefore they have a self-worth that they never had. And it's all because men like yourself have took the time to set the bar and say, I'm
Mm.
not going to let you stay below. I'm calling you up here every single time. No matter what your struggle is, no matter what your experiences have been, your traumas are, I'm calling you up higher. That's not pushing aside or dismissing that story. That's saying that there's value in your story, and I'm not going to let you victimize yourself. I'm calling you up to be the victor that you are. And there's a
Mm.
difference in that. You know what I mean? So it just
Yeah.
isn't, it's multiple ways that we can get to normalizing this thing, and I think if we all work our lanes, as our brother Christian always says, if we um if we stay in our lanes, literally, because we're not called to be in 5 different lanes. Nate, you have a lane, I have a lane, and so on and so forth. It's when we start mixing, you know what I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
and we
People got
compete
to
in the
learn them
generation that's
lanes,
coming
man.
up. Right,
How
we
about
have
say
to
me
stay in
and you
our
talked
lane.
about that?
Yeah, we have to stay in our lane and make sure these young brothers can see clearly the blueprint of how to get to healing.
That's important
That's
too.
a
Just
long
just
answer.
figuring out what you're like. No, no, no. That was great. That's going to bless somebody for real. Whether they're watching now or they watch a replay of this, That's important,
Yeah.
man. And I think it's important because it gives them that affirmation and that validation. So when
Yeah.
outside sources come in with, the negative nonsense, it just bounces right off of them. Or
Mhm.
they have the resilience to kind of just push through that because
Mhm.
they've already been loved on. You know what I'm saying? They've already been loved on. It's like what it reminds me of is like a young girl and her father, and he's loving on her from when she's like just a baby, just loving her, telling her how beautiful she is and all these different things like that. So when guys are
Yeah.
coming up, later down in life, it's like it's nothing. My dad already loved on me. My dad already called me beautiful. What else is there
Right.
to bring to the table? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And all the other stuff that you're trying to throw at me, whether it's negative, whatever it is, my dad already affirmed me. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
I think that that's powerful. And for us, man, as I keep going back to this book and I'm reading through it, and it's man, it's heavy, man. It's just heavy the way that we're pouring into these boys from all different directions, man. Like y'all really, and that was the beauty in it, man. I thank God that I didn't do this alone
Mhm.
because it wouldn't have been the same. It wouldn't have had the
Right.
same impact and influence. But the fact
Mhm.
that God placed it on my heart to get multiple, successful men like
Mhm.
yourself, it's like, man, these stories in there are so rich, and everybody's is so they're so different and unique to who you are, and that's going to
Mhm.
touch so many different levels of
Mhm.
young men, and we're going to be able to validate those that don't have fathers, those that have fathers that walked out of their lives, those that are contemplating suicide, those that are being
Mhm.
bullied. There's something that speaks to every single one, and
Absolutely.
that's powerful, man. That's powerful for men to come together in that way to be transparent, man. I think it's what we're starting is something that's like revolutionary, honestly, and it's a
Yeah.
beautiful thing, man. That's going to my hope is that it has that domino effect. And I heard something
Yeah.
that was really dope the other day was like the first domino doesn't focus on the hundredth domino. It just focuses on hitting the next domino.
Right.
So I'm gonna say it one more time because that joint was fire. It says the
So
first
he's like, bro, you're not listening.
yeah,
I was
yeah,
about to
yeah.
share the joint. But go
He
ahead.
said, yeah, y'all ain't really soaked that one in. Nah. He said the first
Watch this, watch
domino.
this, watch this. Listen, you ain't hear me. You ain't hear me.
He said, no, 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 no. Y'all ain't get that one. I know y'all
Right.
missed it. He said the first domino isn't focused on the hundredth domino. It's only focused on hitting the next domino. And I'm like, man, if we can have that domino effect where we're not so focused on like, man, we got to change the world today and all the black boys around it.
Right.
No, no, no. We just got
Right.
to do our part. Like you said, stay in our lane and hit that next domino and allow that
Right.
to trickle down. Because I know with us planting seeds, somebody else is going to come along to water that thing. We don't have to sit around and wait and try to wait for the tree to grow. Let's just keep planting seeds. And this book, this anthology that we put together is one of those seeds. On top of the
Yeah.
stuff that we're already doing, like the guys that are in this book, like yourself, you're at the Covenant House. We got Mike, who's at ACCC and has mentoring programs. Daryl, who has Fridays Tie Day. Les is doing Never Quit and mentoring. We have so many different facets of men who are already on the ground doing this work daily, and that's what makes it even more special because we're able to
Right.
truly relate to those young men who are out there because we're on the ground already working with them. So these letters, like I said, when I'm reading them, they sound so intimate and personal, like y'all talking directly to somebody, like directly to somebody you're thinking of, man. And it's going to penetrate the hearts of so many people, not even just black boys, but just people in general. Like I told you earlier, I had a gentleman, Caucasian gentleman, who reached out to me that read the ebook already and was like, man, this thing is hitting hard. Like, wow, I
Yeah.
would love to meet with you, talk with you. And this isn't even just speaking to black boys, this is speaking to men of all races. And I'm
Mhm.
like, wow, praise God. That's incredible, man.
Let me say this, bro, because I want to commend you for being unapologetic as an author to speak directly to the audience that you set out to speak to and being um unapologetic about it, like period. Just you were talking to black boys. However, you were definitely open for the idea of everyone, boys, girls, white, black, Hispanic, to be touched by the work. Because I think so often a lot of people who create content, who are authors or artists, you are kind of persuaded to stay in the lane of trying to please everyone,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't speak to who God called you to speak to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think the fact that you went out of your way to make sure there was an image on the book and there was black men in the book and the words were so for our culture or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, I believe that obedience is going to bless you tremendously, even beyond the book.
Yeah.
Because, so many, you could have easily been like, okay, well, I don't want to make the cover like this. I don't want to be directly speaking to black boys. You know what I mean? Just with all that pressure of having to be popular and things like that. So I want to commend
Mm-hmm.
you for being bold and courageous and speaking directly to an audience that's so many times have been overlooked and continue to be overlooked. And this year of 2020, man, I have been angry. I have been angry as a black
Bro.
man. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And
Likewise.
this has been such a therapeutic way for myself to release that anger instead of being angry with the world and with the climate of this country. I was able to internalize that into preparing the young men that's coming after me for the
Mm-hmm.
world that we live in. And that helped me to release the anger in a productive way, because the word says to be angry but to sin not, and this book helped me to not sin. And let
Yeah.
my
You.
words be turned into something that was productive. So again, man, you deserve all the credit in the world for what you've done in this book. And just like you said, the book is so rich. And this is not just because it's our brothers that's in this book, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
because the experiences I have, and I've worked with youth for a long time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's very valuable to have so many different voices in this book, all different walks of life. There is not a young, like you said, there's not a young boy who would read this and not get something from some one of the letters or multiple letters or whatever the case may be. The We really poured our heart into it. You know what I mean? No one slacked on what they were saying. Everyone
Yeah.
treated their letters like they were trying to save someone with each word, literally. You know what I mean? And I think
Yeah.
that's why it's drawing the response that it is so far. So congratulations to you, bro. And I'm honored for
Oh
your work.
man, thank you, thank you. I'm honored and humbled, man, and I'm at awe thinking about the conception of this whole idea from leaving the conference that day to thinking about, yo, what can I do? To talking to you about it, to reaching out to them, to us, literally in February, me reaching out to everybody, and we like, yeah, we're gonna do this, and then the pandemic happened, and
Yeah.
then Ahmaud Arbery happened, then
Yeah.
George Floyd happened. I was like, yo, what is going on right now? And I look at the cover that Ryan, the picture that he took, and I'm just like, man, it's kind of crazy the way it came together. And
Yeah.
in regards to the target audience, because that's something I battle with back and forth. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
I
Because
remember we were talking about it.
yeah, yeah, it's just like, man, this is what's on my heart. But at the
Yeah.
same time, it's that thing of like, okay, you want to be accepted by everybody, and it got to a point where it's like, I have to do this. If I don't do this, I'm almost being like disobedient. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And for me, that target, and I heard that analogy once from Pastor Michael Todd. He was like, it's like taking, a wet tennis ball with paint and throwing it at your target. He was like, you're going to hit your target, but the splatter is going to hit everything else that's around it.
Mhm.
And that's what I feel like this is. I got my target. I'm focused on the black boys. I've thrown this wet paintball at the target. It's hitting the target,
Mhm.
and now everybody else is just a splatter. Whether it's women,
Right.
whether it's white men, whoever it is, older, black men, whatever it is, that splatter's hitting all of you because you're in
Right.
that vicinity of you're all around my
Yeah.
target, which is black boys. In some aspect, you are. So you're going to get hit by this paint. You weren't directly hit, but by some type of splatter, it just happened. And that's the beautiful thing, man. And I want to encourage anybody, you know, if you're creating something, a product, a service, whatever it is, and you feel in your heart that it's geared towards this certain audience, man, don't be ashamed to do that.
Mhm.
There are going to be people that criticize you, but there are going to be people that criticize you anyway. So
Yeah.
just do it anyway. Especially when you feel as though God is calling you to do something. It's like don't be partially obedient because that's still
Mhm.
disobedience. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
it's like be obedient to that calling and allow things to happen. Like I said, the people that have been reaching out to me, they haven't. I had 2 interviews. I got another one. I had another one next week, and these aren't black people that's interviewing me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So these are
Because
people like, oh
I'm
no, go
sorry,
ahead.
bro. I feel like it's because it's love. Like, you know what I mean? And love
Hmm.
is universal. Yeah, the book is
Yeah,
I love you. You know what I mean? And like going back to that analogy with the splatters of paint, what you're splattering is love, and that's why everyone's being affected by it, no matter how
wow,
little the paint might touch them. That's why I see in the spirit realm is that that's love that's hitting everyone.
that's good.
So everyone's receiving it such. So it's not about so much a color as it is about the love. You know what I mean? And I think everyone needs that right now. You know what I mean?
Wow, yeah,
And
yeah.
that's
That's man. I didn't even think of it that way. That's powerful, man. That's what that is love. It's almost like a ball, like you just dipped it in love, and like I'm gonna just throw this joint at my target, and
right,
if
right.
y'all around, bro, y'all, you might catch a little bit on you, but I'm
Mhm.
gonna throw this as hard as I can in my target. I gotta hit my target, and that's powerful, man. And love is so powerful. And I want people to really understand that, man. And it's something that we, as brothers, as men, we say to each other on a regular basis when we jump off the phone, like, "Yo, man, I love you. All right, love you too." And it's just like, man, I can only imagine when that becomes the norm, especially for
Right.
black men, where we feel like we can be transparent in that space and not feel uncomfortable about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But feel like, yeah, I really got a brother that care for me, that really will
yeah,
look out for me. And that's really the basis of it. Somebody that's there for me, that cares for me. Somebody that will hold me down, somebody that's gonna pray
yeah.
for me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Somebody that's gonna pray for me, somebody that is um willing to step up where I may fall at, someone that would step in if something happened to me and it would step in and help with my family, help
Right.
with my lady, say, God forbid something happened to me and we're married, and having brothers like y'all that I know would step up and help her and
Mhm.
comfort her, not in a way that's
Right.
disrespectful, but in a way that honors me and honors God. That's
Right.
really what it's all about, man. And even in the book, for those of you that haven't got it, you can go download it now, right now, for free on Amazon for Kindle. You can download it for free until Sunday, and you can get the hard copy signed with exclusive bookmarks at iloveyoubooks.com. But in the book, man, oh, wrong way. I love this part of the book right here. Let me see if I can get it to look
Right.
better. And I put the way of love, and it's crazy how this stuff. I'm reading through the book the other day. I'm like, man, what made me put this stuff in this book like
Mhm.
this? But I put the way of love, and I put First Corinthians 13 verses 4-8, and just talking about love. Love is patient, love is kind, it isn't jealous, it doesn't brag, it isn't arrogant, it isn't rude, it doesn't seek its own advantage, it isn't irritable, it doesn't keep a record of complaints, it isn't happy with injustice, but is happy with the truth. Love puts up with all things, trust in all things, hope for all things, endure all things. Love
Yeah.
never fails. And it's like, man, and it's amazing, man. It's amazing the way the stuff was downloaded just into me. Because right after that, I put, "We will place a crown over your head, but we won't place it on your head because you must grow to reach it." And it's one of those things
Mm.
where it's like, yo, we're validating you, like, yo, you're a king. You know what I'm saying? You're powerful. God blessed you in so many different ways. You're special, but you have to mature and grow to reach this. This is something we all
Right.
have access to. But if
Right.
you aren't willing to grow and mature in this, you can't have this. And I
Right.
love it because there's a level of accountability in this book as well. It's not
Yes.
us
Yes.
just like, hey man, this and just all this on you. It's like, no, there's a level of accountability that you have to do. This is about maturity. And one of the bookmarks, actually, I love this bookmark. I love yours. Actually, I love all of them. I'm about to pick one, but I
Mhm.
can't. But one of these bookmarks, the one that has tone on it, it
Yeah.
says, "We aren't raising boys, we are building men."
Yeah.
And I'm just like, man, that's what it's all about.
Absolutely.
That's what it's
Absolutely.
all about. And I'm challenging men, man, especially black men, to step up during this time,
Yeah.
because our young men are running wild right now, man. They're hurt, they're afraid, um, they're being super influenced by what they see on social media, and they're almost to a point where they're losing respect for the elders and the people within their communities. and it's really up to us to step in and love on them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Love on them and really teach them. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just on a mission to do that, man. I don't know. It might not be cool, popular, sexy. It might not give me a bunch of money, but this is the stuff I think about all day.
Right, right.
This
And that's
this is
that's what I wanted to say as well, is just like none of the men that are part of this book are just because of the book writers. Like, you know what I mean? Just because we just, Nate asked us to be a part of this book, that we said a few good things. It's like it's literally our life. It's literally what we've done prior to the book, years prior to the book. So I would encourage everyone to, even for all the authors, check out the authors and see and follow them, that this is, a lifestyle. It's not just, for the attention of the book, which is what you want when you want your son to read the book, your nephew to read the book. You want them to be hearing the voices of men who have been consistent, who have been, who have long suffered, who have endured the ups and downs of building relationships with young Black boys who have been in adverse situations and had a lot of adversity in their lives. You know what I mean? So you want that aspect of those experiences in the book. And so,
yeah.
it's just amazing that everyone in this book has a story, and has the experience, under the words that they're saying. You know what I
Oh
mean? And it's
yeah.
not, you know, fly by night advice. It's actual, blood, sweat, and tears that was put into this book. And
Yeah,
but
oh, my fault. I don't want to cut you off.
Oh no, no, sorry. I wanted to just hit on that accountability part. I think that's what's amazing too. I really stand on, especially as a mentor and a youth advocate, I stand on the scripture that love is the correction is the best form of love. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And so my thing is that you cannot say I love you if you're not willing to correct. You can't fully be loved if you're not willing to receive correction.
Yep.
So the fact that accountability is a major part of this book with some of the letters, I think that makes it even more authentic, even more a mentoring tool, because it's not just, hugs and kisses. It's not just, all the love stories and all that other stuff. It's the real. It's the real. It's like we're gonna hold you accountable. So like Nate said, you can get to that crown, and you can deserve it. You know what I mean? You can earn it. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to point that out as well.
No, no, no. That's extremely important, man. And again, just I appreciate y'all fellas, man. Like even when I sat back after the release day, we did the whole release viewing and the virtual thing. I'm just like, man, it's amazing how you pray for certain things and God brings people into your life at the right time. And you
Yeah.
know what else? When I think about the letters, right? And I knew that y'all really put some time into this because when I had asked you all to write the letters was when the heat of everything started to happen in regards to like the racial tension in the country and all that stuff. And the crazy thing is you can sense that in the letters,
Mm-hmm.
all the way from, your letters to my guy AJ, who's a state trooper, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying, and wrote his letters in the way he did in like a poetic form. It was just like, man, I can tell that y'all have really like soaked into this moment of where the climate of the country is right now. I can
Right.
sense, I can almost sense anger, but not anger in the
Mhm.
sense of you like writing angry letters or bitter letters, but like anger in the sense of like, I got to teach these valuable lessons. I
Urgency.
got to share this insight. Like, let's even share like financial advice in that joint. I was reading
Mm.
left letters. He was dropping like, yo, we got to, brother. Like, and it was just like, man, we are really, if anything outside of a book, this is a guide, especially for Black boys. It's a guide that I wish I had.
Yeah.
And I'm a big component in creating things that I wish I had as a kid. And this is one of
Right.
those things, man. We came together and we executed. Because
Mhm.
this could have easily just been an idea still. You know what I'm saying? This
Yeah.
could have been an idea. And now this thing is going to be actually helping to heal people. I just sent copies off
Mhm.
to a state prison
Mm.
for a young
Man,
man
well,
that's getting a book.
the healing that's going to take place, man.
Bro, and
You know what
and
I mean?
the individual who ordered it for me is like he's been waiting for this book when I told him what it's about. And I'm like, he been
Yeah.
waiting for it? What?
Yeah.
and he's like waiting for this thing. I'm like, man, that's when I knew this was it was deeper than even what I thought it was. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? When I sent that book, I even sent the book today, interesting enough, to Hawaii. The
Mm,
book to Hawaii, man. And I was thinking, like, man, y'all as the authors, the people that have contributed to this, do y'all even realize where y'all words about to go and what they can do for years and years to come? Somebody can pick
mm,
this up literally 10,
right.
15 years from now and receive like true breakthrough through reading somebody's letters, man. It's so much power in that, man. And I'm just blessed and honored that, you know, God called me to this, and that I'm just glad that y'all accepted it to be a part of this thing, man. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's all I got. Got my dogs
Right.
running around. I don't know what's going on with them. But yeah, man. I really want to get on here, like I said, everybody. I want to
Yeah.
get on here and just share a little bit. Obviously promote the book a little bit. The free ebook is still available until Sunday, so you can literally download this book from Amazon to Kindle for free.
Yeah.
I recommend that you do that, as well as purchase a hard copy. Signing the books, coming with exclusive bookmarks, very limited edition bookmarks. They're very dope.
Yeah.
And what it's going to do is really just help us to spread this mission, man. This isn't about trying to make a bunch of money or anything like that. Like, we have plans for this, and I believe that this book needs to get into the hands of every Black boy,
Mm,
Black teenager, Black man, whoever you can think of, your uncle, your dad, like, they need to get this book, because there's something of value in there for them, especially for the parents out there. There's something of value in here for you as well. I have a whole section pretty much dedicated to, parents and people who care for, children and everything like that. It's extremely important. And yeah, what you're doing is really helping us with our mission to spread this love and to
yeah.
further the things that we're going to do. So we're looking to do a conference next year. I'm looking to do some other things that I'll be revealing come probably like spring. But this isn't just going to stop here with this book, right? This
Mm,
isn't just, oh, I wrote another book. I'm on book number 4. It's like, no, no, no. This is like God ordained work right here,
yeah.
because I was definitely going in a whole different direction with my work, and then I just got stopped. Like, boom, okay, you
Yeah.
need to be over here because this is where the need is.
Yeah.
And I seen that need, I found that gap, and that's where I'm going to operate at, man. Like I said, it won't make me. I'm not looking to get famous. I'm not looking to get all the notoriety. I'm not even on the cover of my own book. You know what I'm saying? Because it's so much bigger. It's
Yeah.
so much bigger than that, man. It's so much bigger than that, and I'm all about impact. So I hope that you guys got something from this live stream. Like I said, we just jumped on here like really random. I hit
Mhm.
Tyler, hey, you want to jump on live, man? I want
Yeah.
to talk, have a conversation. Plus, I'm in the house,
Yeah.
and I've been kind of stuck in the house for these past few days, so I need to talk to somebody outside. Talking to my lady and the dog. So I was like, let me jump on so I can see somebody else's face. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
yeah, man. I
Nah,
hope y'all
bro.
got something from this for real.
Yeah, and it's always a pleasure, bro. Like I'm honored to be a part of it. I keep saying it, but it's the truth, man. You only put your name on stuff that you believe in, and you have been consistent. You've been, somebody who's been on it from day one, and you're a doer. You know what I mean? Not a follower. You're somebody. If you say you're gonna get it done, you get it done, and that's somebody who I want to be alongside of. So I'm honored, bro.
Yeah, man. I'm honored as well, man. I appreciate y'all.
Yeah,
Love you, bro.
love you too, bro.
And I'll talk with y'all soon. Be on the lookout for another live stream coming up. I'm probably gonna start doing these a lot more often. Doing
Yeah,
some more I love you conversations, because I think that these are super helpful for a lot of people, especially during this
yeah,
time of, the COVID numbers are going up, New Year's, holidays, people stressed out. I think that it's huge that we get on here and have these type of transparent conversations. So be on the lookout for that soon. Please get your copy of the book, get the free ebook, order a copy now, send it to
right.
someone you love, read it yourself. And we appreciate y'all and we love y'all. Y'all have a blessed night. Yes, sir.
Hey.